An emergency fund is an absolute necessity when it comes to financial stability. Having an emergency fund unlocks so much financial security, which is why I'm going to cover exactly what you need for an emergency fund, where to keep it, and stick around to the end because I'm going to show you a very easy and quick way to track your progress. Hey guys, welcome back to the Quicken YouTube channel. I'm your host, Justine. I'm a personal finance educator and enthusiast, and today we're talking all about emergency funds. An emergency fund is simply cash savings set aside for unexpected expenses. Things like a flat tire, a broken phone, a medical emergency, or a sudden job loss can be covered and weathered if you have an emergency fund set in place. An emergency fund should cover the basics, including things like rent or mortgage payment, your utilities, including things like electricity, gas, water, trash, or your cell phone and internet bill, food, specifically groceries, and any car-related expenses such as gas, insurance, or tags. So how do you determine exactly how much you need in your emergency fund? A really smart way is to go back through the last 3 months of spending either in your bank account or your credit card account and take a look at the average of those 3 months. Now, you're probably not going to need that for things like rent or a mortgage payment where that's consistent in the same amount every single month. But utilities and gas for your car or even groceries can fluctuate from month to month, which is why it's important to take an average of those expenses and then multiply that by 3. I'll get to the reason why you need to multiply it by 3 in just a second, but after you do that and add up all of those basic living expenses in 1 month, you're going to get that emergency fund amount. Now, where should the money for an emergency fund ideally be saved? In this case, you'll want to park it in a very accessible and liquid account, such as a high yield savings account that is going to be earning you a lot of interest as that money continues to grow. The idea is you park it inside of a savings account, and then when an unexpected expense pops up, you can simply transfer it into your checking account and pay for that expense right away. Now, you're going to hear some personal finance experts say, start with $1,000 emergency fund and then move on to your other financial goals. However, $1,000 nowadays is simply not enough to cover most basic emergency expenses. Think about cell phone costs. Cell phones brand new are now $1,000. And so ideally, and in my opinion, you should have at least 2 to 3 months of basic living expenses set aside in your emergency fund. Now, when you went back and looked at the average of your spending for these basic expenses, the reason why you want to multiply that by 3 is that'll give you 3 months of living expenses in your starter emergency fund. When it comes to emergency funds, this is the financial foundation that you should have in place. In fact, it should be the focus before you go heavy into other financial goals. Imagine if you were trying to put hundreds and hundreds of dollars in extra payments towards a credit card debt, and then all of a sudden the car breaks down on the side of the highway and you have a major repair bill ahead of you. Now, wouldn't it be nice to have the cash set aside for those unexpected expenses instead of tying it up and trying to pay down your credit card bill, thus actually putting you into more debt because you actually don't have the money to come up for that car repair? Now, personally, I have 6 months of basic living expenses set aside in my emergency fund. This is what I call a fully funded emergency fund, where I have 6 months of living expenses or more. Some folks might want to have 12 months of living expenses inside of an emergency fund, but do what feels comfortable for you. If you have a low risk tolerance, then you may want to build it up on the higher side. Or if you have a job that you know you can replace right away, maybe you want to have a smaller emergency fund so that you can take the difference in that cash and you invest it. You want to purchase real estate. You want to put it into an IRA. Whatever the case may be, when it comes to emergency funds, you have enough money that makes you feel comfortable for you to weather any unexpected expenses. Now, I want to supply you with several ideas on how to build up your emergency fund fast. The first way is look inside of your checking account right now. If there's money in it, if there's extra money in it, simply move that money over into your savings account and start building it up. You can also cut out unnecessary spending, cut out subscriptions, and keep your energy usage low. Remember, this is all temporary as we're building it up to that starter emergency fund equal to 2 to 3 months of basic living expenses. And then once you get to that point, you can start redirecting more of that extra income towards your financial goals. goals. You can also pick up extra income or side hustle ideas. In fact, we've done a whole video about that we will link to in the description box below. You can sell unwanted items utilizing things like Facebook Marketplace and build the emergency fund savings contributions directly inside of your budget and learn how to control your spending. Learn how you operate with money so that you can unlock and heal any type of negative relationship that you might have with money so that you can be a better saver. Now, if you are committed to the emergency fund, there's a really quick and easy way to track your progress. You can track your emergency fund savings progress by using the Quicken Simplifi budgeting app. All you need to do is log into your Quicken Simplifi budgeting app, and then you're going to head over to goals, and then you're going to create a new goal for your emergency fund. Now, the goal amount, this is why it's so important to figure out exactly how much you need by looking at your basic monthly living expenses. And let's say for you, a starter emergency fund amount is equal to $5,000. We don't have any money saved so far, so we're going to click continue. And then we're going to set a target goal date of when we want to reach this particular goal. So if we were to look at from a year from now, the monthly contribution is already calculated for you. You would need to be saving $384.62. Now, if I wanted to push that out by a few months, then I can see that my monthly contribution changes to just $294.12. So I can go ahead and change that, click continue, and then I can add a planned contribution inside of my spending plan and click yes, set aside. And keep in mind, the app is not going to take money out of your accounts. You're going to have to manually do that. I actually would suggest doing an automatic contribution from your checking into your savings, and then that way you can record and keep track of your progress inside of Simplifi. So the goal has been created, and then we can see exactly how much we need to save, and then it's going to track your progress over time. So I'd love to know where you're at with your emergency fund in the comments. Are you just getting started, or do you already have some money set aside? Give us all your tips in the comments below. I can't wait to see you crush it. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. We'll catch you in the next one.